New InProTED series called Students Sharing Experiences. We want to bring you amazing students and their stories to open your horizons and enrich your knowledge. A few words about our organization. InProTED is a non-profit with the mission of delivering education. We work with volunteers on projects like software classes, summer schools, as well as webinars, online presentations, and trainings. I would like to mention Codsinaya, which is an advanced programming school for students and already completed the second edition. Thank you for attending today, the first webinar from this series called Computer Science and Engineering in the Netherlands. For about an hour, including Q&A, Marc and Stefan, two wonderful students in the first year of college, will share their stories about the process of application in the Netherlands. I hope you all will find it useful. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this webinar will be recorded. And now, Marc and Stefan, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. So hello, I'm Stefan. I graduated high school in the United States in the state of Oregon with a full international baccalaureate diploma. I was interested in universities in the Netherlands due to my European citizenship and the quality of the academic program in engineering there. Something important to keep in mind when applying to these universities is that they hold open days. And now with the pandemic, online presentations are much easier to participate in from anywhere in the world. So I do recommend going to those. However, I also recommend going there for in-person open days, of course, if they are held this year. That's because a very important experience for me when I was applying there was I visited Delft and was a student for a day there, which basically meant that I shadowed a first-year computer science student and went through a full day of their courses. This is probably the best way of getting insight on the life on campus and the academics as well. So I highly recommend this experience to all of you, again, if it's possible when you visit there. So why have I applied to the Netherlands? I visited these two institutions during my junior year, meaning 11th grade, and I was mostly interested only in TU Delft and TU Eindhoven. Both are really good engineering schools, and while Delft might be slightly higher ranked in computer science, Eindhoven had a great and new campus with amazing student research and innovation centers. What was the specific reasons for me of why I applied there was my Romanian citizenship would have helped me with finances, meaning I would have paid as a EU citizen, while my IB credits that I got here in the United States would have helped me with equivalating those high school requirements that European students already have. So this is the official timeline for last year's application process and deadlines. And I believe that this is the best guiding resource for all applicants. To begin your application, you have to create an account in the tool called Studielink and choose the institutions and programs that you'd like to apply to. In my case, I had the computer science and engineering program chose for TU Delft and TU Eindhoven selected in this tool. So here's this tool is where these institutions receive your application information and where the application process basically begins. For Delft, the first step following this info in the tool was the non-cognitive skill assessment, which consists of a few short answer questions on 3 topics: online student experience, motivation and perseverance, and group work. And by the way, all this information is on their website, which we'll give to you at the end in resources. In these steps, especially the NCSA, completion in time is the most important thing. That being said, make sure you have answered the prompts correctly and completely and proofread your responses. But again, completion in time is most important. Following, you have the cognitive skill assessment, the CST, which is the actual test that determines your ranking spot for admissions. The test is broken up into 3 subjects. 40% of it is math, 20% of it is systematic reasoning and logical thinking, which, by the way, is the easiest category, which doesn't really require any preparation. And the last 40% is algorithmic and computational thinking. So this last topic is basically mathematical logic, and it's what I had to prepare for the most since I haven't really approached it in school. The university offers a textbook and recommends chapter 2 for incoming applicants to study and prepare for this part of the CST. And again, we have linked this kind of stuff at the end of the presentation. On a very similar note, here's the TU Eindhoven application process. Again, the timeline for last year. It also starts in StudiaLink, as you can see in their more detailed timeline. I do have to mention, though, that their email communication were a bit less consistent than Delft, in my opinion. I underline in green the step you see there that confused me the most. Their non-cognitive assessment is made up of a questionnaire and a completely different reflection form. So while I was applying, I completed a questionnaire and thought that I finished this step. However, once the deadline passed, they reached out to me informing that I had not fully completed this step, which led them to not offer me participation in their selection day exams. So this again shows the importance of really looking out for these emails that the institution send you during the time you're applying. And again, sticking to deadlines and making sure you completed each step fully. All of that being said, I did successfully complete the application process for Delft. And in about 2 weeks after taking the CST and finishing the last step, which was a small reflection, I received my ranking number. My CST test scores placed me in the 191st out of the first 500 students being admitted to computer science and engineering at TU Delft. So to explain the way they score, at least the exam, for each section of the test, meaning math, reasoning, and logic, they calculate a z-score depending on how many questions the applicant got right. And these z-scores are based on a standard deviation or bell curve that they create each year. So the last thing after TU's application process was receiving their housing offers for first-year students shortly after you accept your ranking or position that they offer you for the program. So all of that being said, with all my college applications being done and having some time to think, I did make the decision to remain and study computer science in state here in Oregon at Oregon State University with the honors option. Of course, after considering multiple factors like the ease of lifestyle, especially now during the pandemic, and the overall finances with my family.
Perfect. So, hello everyone. I'm Marc Negoescu. I come from Romania. I studied in Sinaia in Prahova and graduated Colegiul Mihail Cantacuzino. And I have since moved to the Netherlands and started studying here. I chose to apply in the Netherlands mostly because I found the study programs and colleges in general to be much more interesting than the offers I had back home. I really liked the culture and open-mindedness of Dutch people. That was one of the most important things for me. And of course, like I was really attracted to the way the Dutch arrange their study methods with course-based and applied sciences learning, at least in my own opinion. And I went, of course, to the applied sciences route because I enjoy learning of things as I go usually, and I really liked it because it was beginner friendly and everybody basically started from scratch in coding and computer science. And yeah, one of another big plus of applying in the Netherlands is that everybody and absolutely everybody speaks English, from the smallest child to the oldest person that you will see on the street. Good. So I chose Fontes University of Applied Sciences to pursue my studies with. I chose it mostly because of the assignments, mostly consistent team-based work. This basically helps me and other students around me create big teamwork skills that will help us later in life. I really liked the way the classrooms and the new building that we're learning in were arranged and organized in general. It's a hybrid open area and regular classroom arrangement. And this basically just creates a big open space for students to basically communicate, ask questions between themselves, solve problems on their own, and collaborate in general. It's really nice experience and overall feel to be there. Again, there are students like in most other universities and colleges from every single country and culture that you might think of. And everybody, including like students and teachers, are very open-minded and glad to help at any moment of the day. So for the application process, I had to submit the necessary documents. Basically, I had to have a valid IELTS certificate. And for people who don't know what the IELTS certificate is basically a diploma that certifies your English knowledge and studies for basically high school students that didn't do their studies in an English-based course in their high school years. Then I had to write a personal statement or letter, depends on how you want to address it. And this consisted in basically telling the story of my life, of my achievements, and of my wants and desires in life, kind of, if I can even put it like that. Basically, summing up your life and why you want to choose to study at a very specific university, in this case, Fontes. Then I had to provide my transcript, both partial and final. I had to use the partial for my initial application, and then the final after I got my baccalaureate diploma. And the certificate of study, that's a document mostly for Romanian students. You can get it at your school's faculty office. You can ask for it. They'll be more than happy to provide it to you. And I submitted my application on the 24th of February through StudyLink, and I received my admission letter from the university on the 4th of May. What's the note here? Again, like Stefan mentioned, it's that it's really, really important to look in each and every single folder in your emails inbox. Because some messages might go through spam, might go through whatever folder in your mailbox. So make sure to check each and every single one of them out. And for housing, like Stefan said, most universities will offer new students the opportunity to get housing through different companies like Vestida, like Friendly Housing, and others. I got my personal housing offer within 2 weeks of receiving my enrollment or like admission letter from my university, and you will receive a housing offer from one of the companies that I mentioned above. And these contracts are only valid for an academic year. This is mostly because of the pandemic situation, because in the past, these contracts were extendable up to 2 years, but because of COVID and all of this, it's now been limited back to 1 year. Basically, as I included a photo of how basically a basic room for a student would look like. It's a solo room. Basically, we are 3 people in this apartment, and everybody has their own room, because by Dutch law, you're not allowed to have people sharing a room, for example. So yes, it's a big advantage. And the prices are, again, a big advantage as well. Like for the specific room, I pay under 300 euros a month for rent. And then I would say for like food, which is like a really important thing that everybody asks for food, you can get by with like 200 to 220 euros a month. So that being said, thank you very much for your interests. We will now be taking questions from you guys if you have any. Thank you very much.
Guys, that was really fast and very good job. Thank you, guys. So questions, there are a couple of questions. Actually, I will ask the moderator, and you can raise the hand if you have a question. Otherwise, I will have a couple of questions submitted. Like, for example, what are the differences in curriculum between computer science majors in the Netherlands and those studying in Romania? Asking Ingrid if she was asking. So.
Would you like to address that, Marc?
So
sure, I could try and answer that. So basically, the big difference it's mostly dependent on what you choose as a profile in general for your university. Because Stefan, for TU Eindhoven and TU Delft, those are research universities, and it's sort of similar, but to what you would normally study in Romania, but it's way more involved, in my opinion, in the Netherlands, with newer technologies being used all the time, newer like hardware, newer industry standards. In my opinion, it's way more up to date. For me personally, in applied sciences, it's again working with new standards, but for me, it's basically learning as I go. I don't do that much research, but we basically apply what we're taught in general classes, and then we apply it in the real world, and we create applications or whatever with that.
And let's see, Radu actually has like 3 questions, kind of. I'll try. So, for example, how much money do you need per month to live in Netherlands? I think Marc already say like about 500. It's about right, Marc? About 500. Is that a correct amount?
I had to go answer to something. I'm really sorry, but I missed that question a little bit.
So how much money do you need per month to live in Netherlands?
So per month, right now I would say I'm under the 500 euro a month threshold. You can certainly live inside that budget. It depends on how much you pay for your housing, and
Of course.
it depends, of course, on how much, pardon me, of how much you actually eat. So of course, it's a big variable. I would say, like, it depends on how much and how much.
And
That's
actually
all I
the
can really
next,
say.
yeah, excellent. Thank you. Actually, the next 2 questions, probably it's also addressed to you. So you are the best person to answer to that. How do you find housing there, and do you need to learn Dutch?
Of course, like Dutch is not that big of a requirement. Like nobody will come to you and say, oh, you need to learn Dutch for this specific thing. The Netherlands in general are very open. They're not a country like Germany, let's say, where you would actually need to know a little bit of German to get by. In the Netherlands, that's not the case. Nobody will come and say, oh, you need to learn Dutch, or you need to know Dutch for this specific course or whatever.
Yeah, I
Nobody
think
will tell
it's,
that to you. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a great example with Germany. I think so, and everybody should probably. Now, if I put my parent hat, I know in Germany sometimes for computer science, especially, it is a requirement to know German. So, yeah, that's a big advantage. Okay, Philip was asking, why did you choose these universities in Netherlands and not others? Stefan, can you answer to that? Why
Sure,
did you
yeah.
choose Netherlands?
Netherlands itself or the universities there. I'll try to address both of them. So the Netherlands, because, well, due to Brexit and England not really being on the European list anymore, I think the Netherlands is the second best, like, kind of English-speaking country that you can go to. That being said, I chose TU Delft and TU Eindhoven because they are very highly ranked. Like, TU Delft is the best computer science school in the Netherlands, and I think it's 58th in the world. Eindhoven is a bit lower, but it's also really high up there. Like, it's the 3rd one in the country, and I guess 100th in the world. So it's really high up in the computer science ranking, and great schools overall.
Okay, so as a conclusion, the universities from Netherlands, the Netherlands, you said, are very good in ranking over the world, correct? So that puts you in a position you are very competitive after you will graduate your college. So probably this is the best answer. Okay, other questions, guys, if you have, try to raise a hand, and these are the questions they are sent by email.
everyone is crystal clear on the application process. Because, for example, for Marc's, he had to submit a portfolio, while for the TU ones that I talked about, he had to actually test. So any questions there?
I have a question for both of you. Which part of the application process, of the selection process, was the most challenging for each of you?
I'd like to start on that. For me, because I had to submit a portfolio, probably the hardest thing to do was actually wait and keep my emotions in check in a sort of way, because it was all leading up to a moment that if I would be basically admitted or not to the university. So yeah.
That's a good answer. I guess for me, since the application process was lengthy and being in a different continent and country, the hardest part was probably keeping track of communications and managing all that, because most of the stuff happened over email or on different tools. So managing all of that does get a bit tricky at points, but it's necessary.
Thank you.
Great. Great. So, yes, Stefan, and what was the part that you like more in studying in Netherlands? I know now you choose that to study in OSU, but what was the best part that did impress you? I mean, what was why did you choose Netherlands actually?
I guess it's because, well, they offer really good school, that's for one. And what really impressed me there was mostly how much they invested in student innovations and student-driven labs and projects. Eindhoven, for one, they had a huge innovation center that was only for student-created clubs to create products, and basically that, it's not maybe like an internship level kind of experience, but it's very close to that. Most products coming out of that innovation center would get picked up by startups and companies, or the students themselves would start a company if they had the time after school and all that. So I guess just the amount of investment they do in their students and faculty, that's what really amazed me.
And probably it's good to mention that Netherlands has very good connections, airplane connections everywhere. So on the West Coast, Amsterdam, it's a hub. So especially for United States, there are many direct flights from important cities from the East or West Coast in United States. So, for example, Portland has a direct connection with Amsterdam. So probably in about 9 hours, you'll be there in Amsterdam.
Transportation is not a problem in or out the country, and I'm sure Marc can validate that.
Yeah, if you guys give more details, like for example, Marc, I'm interested. How long did it take you per day, for example? How far you need to travel to your every day? So do you need to travel? Do you need a bike? Do you need transportation?
So basically, in terms of travel, it's not all that bad, I would say. I right now use the basic walking, the basic just walking method, walk all the way up to and back from school. It only takes me like 20 minutes from where I live right now, and it's a really easy road. I would say that absolutely you do need a bike at one point if you want to do like longer trips to somewhere in the city. Eindhoven being kind of a big city, yeah, you do need a bike to get around quickly in general. But yeah, you can certainly get by with just walking. Cars, I won't say are absolutely necessary. Like, of course, if you have longer roads that you need to do, like to Germany and back once a month, yeah, sure, it's a good cost-effective way to like get there and back like multiple times a month or a year. It could save money. I don't know. And in terms of like even flights, we have an airport in Eindhoven that connects like multiple countries, and it's really easy and to get to and back from different countries and back home. I think it's an hour by walking from my place. So yeah.
Do you have special permits for students in colleges? I mean, do you have special permits like for the subway or
We do have student cards, yes.
Okay.
They did issue us student cards, and we can use them for utilities around our university campus. So we can use basically the 3D printers, the coffee machines, the actual regular printers, and then you get certain benefits around the city, like cheaper transport, cheaper trains and subways. So yeah.
We have questions in the chat. So what is the best website? What is the best website to use when applying? Which is the most beneficial?
Well, in terms of the best websites to use when applying, there's only one website that you need to use in general. That's StudyLink. That basically creates the contact between you and the university that you're applying to. The Osiris platform that Stefan mentioned in his presentation was basically that's Delft's tool. Basically, that's their platform that they take tests and other things on. So basically, you will interact with your university through StudyLink first, and then you would transition to their platform if there's one, of course.
Also, Florin was asking, did the social life of the campus play any role in your decision? Community of students, coffee shops, places like that. So places to hang out, social events, proximity to sightseeing places. So did this play any role in your decision? So the social life.
I would certainly say it did play a big role for me, at least. I wanted to have a more open feel in the school I was going to go to. So of course, like having a lot of people around me was a big thing that I was looking for. I really like the atmosphere of hearing dozens of different languages when I walk through the school door. The community is really cool. All the students are really cool. Coffee shops are not that popular, I would say. Like certainly you can go and basically have a coffee with your friends and pull your laptops out and just work on your assignments. Yeah, sure, you can do that. Yeah, places to hang out, there are plenty in the city center. Proximity to sightseeing places, I don't know yet. I haven't gone to any special place around the city yet. And social events, there are parties everywhere. That's all I can say. So yeah.
And from my experience, Eindhoven, at least in my opinion, looks like a little bit like Brașov in Romania. So for the people, they know Brașov, so it looks like a little bit like Brașov, Eindhoven. Delphi, it's a different, Stefan, he has a nice background I've seen over there. Those streets are from Delft. Delphi, it's a small city between Rotterdam and The Hague. So it's actually, you can go by train, and in 7 minutes you can be in both in Rotterdam or The Hague. Delft will be like it is like a university little campus, something, or big campus, not a small campus. So Stefan, how you mentioned that you've been a student for a day? Can you share a little bit? Can you give more details about that? You're a student for a day.
Yeah, for sure. So again, the student for a day experience was mostly shadowing a first-year student in the major in the program of your choice, and for me, of course, it was computer science. So what that consisted of was just going around and basically staying next to them while they go through a full day of courses. So that was interesting being part of classes there. Of course, kind of in the middle of the semester. So you can't really say it's a learning experience from those courses, but you get a feeling of what the campus is like. You get an insight into student life there because, of course, you get to eat lunch with that person's friends and everybody. Uh, and it's honestly the best way to just get an insight of what the campus is like, other than seeing the place. So when you visit it, you get a more hands-on experience with what going to school there actually is like.
Did you remember how did you apply for this, being for a student for a day? For it, how did you know about this?
Yes, so I believe it was part of the Open Days application. You just sign up for Open Days, and I'm pretty sure you can just also speculate to be part of this student for a day program there. I'm not sure; it might change from year to year, and now with COVID, it's probably a bit uncertain. But that's how you go about it.
So that means probably the best resources you have is just consult the website specific for the universities. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, the website is your friend there.
The website is your friend. And by the way, for everybody who submitted to this webinar, you will have a PDF for this presentation. So, of course, it's an open, we are open to answer to your questions if you have some in the future, some other questions. Any other questions? No questions. Come on, guys. So I think about tuition, could you guys share? Do you have that information? Stefan or Marc, both of you
Yeah,
guys?
sure. Like I could share a little bit about that. Well, this year, at least because it was mostly impacted by COVID, we had what's called a double basically discount on it because for most European year one students, the tax would be cut in half basically. So from the normal, I don't know, let's say 2,000 euros, you would pay 1,000. And this year it's been cut in half twice. So it's basically just like 500 or like 600 euros to pay for like this study year in itself.
Yeah,
Stefan.
it's about the same for Delft. It was initially like around 2,000 euros, and they cut it in half with COVID, only 1,000. Of course, that's for European citizens, and that's what attracted me due to my citizenship. But as an American student, if they didn't recognize my European citizenship, I would have paid closer to 12,000 euros.
Yes, around that, I think so. I think you are about right. So for a US citizen which doesn't own a European citizenship, usually the taxes are higher, but for sure they are lower than United States, for most of the colleges. So 12,000 euros, I think, was for Delft, for a US-based citizenship, and I think around 10,000 for Eindhoven, if I'm not mistaken.
And that's still slightly lower than in-state schools here in the United States.
Yes, so that means only tuition that do not include the accommodation or housing, but I've seen very nice conditions. Like Marc was sharing, you have to stay by yourself in your room. And sometimes the rooms cannot reach more than 800 euros per month or something like that. That's almost a hotel monthly cost.
Yes, moving on from that, I see two questions in the chat, but I'll answer the first one. To elaborate on my experience with the cognitive skill assessment online. Yeah, so once you go through all the non-cognitive stuff and get those steps finished on time, they basically send you a tool to take this test online on your computer, of course. And when the test date comes, you have to basically scan your room. So you open this software, it takes control of your desktop, microphone, and volume, of course, recording in progress as well with the camera. And you basically have to scan your room to show them that you don't have any extra material that can give you an advantage over everybody else, especially because it's online. Online tests are sometimes a bit tricky to regulate. So with this test, as I said, it was 40% math, 20% logical thinking, which is a really, really easy kind of thinking problems. I could show you an example eventually. And the last 40% was the mathematical logic. And that's what I had to prepare on. And for this, we have the link here, the third link here, TU Delft, how to prepare for the CST. This is the brochure that they give you. And at the end of the brochure, you have multiple links, including the textbook that I was talking about that you could use as a resource to study for the mathematical logic exam. So let me know if you have any more specific question about those sections.
Yeah, so for sure, that's a very good link for a cognitive skills test. Did you answer to how did you start your application letter?
Oh, Marc, would you like to talk about that? About the application letter?
Well, about the application letter, that's what I can associate it with. It's mostly like a sort of personal essay that you're writing about yourself. What I do remember about mine is that I started with with a small introduction paragraph about my love for technology and why I want basically technology and computer science in general to be my path in the future and my career path in general. And then I started talking about my progress in school, what study path I followed there, and I elaborated a little bit through achievements that I had in school and other things. In general, it shouldn't be more than a page and a half, I would say. You need to be basically short and concise. You need to get like to the main event quickly. And
Yes.
Other advice that I would give to students preparing to apply, the biggest advice that I can give is be patient, because like applying in like foreign countries does take time. It does take a lot of time, especially when you're in 12th grade, you're preparing for big exams in your life, like the baccalaureate or other exams. Of course, like it does take a toll on you, and pressure from not being sure if you're admitted or not, and studying for your exams. Yeah, well, be patient, be calm, because mostly like things are just going to turn out all right. That's all I can say.
Excellent. So any other questions? Very good vibes. So looks
looks like there's a similar question coming up. Any advice for the letters in which you need to demonstrate on why you're the right person?
Well, I do think I touched a little bit on that, did I, with my previous response? But yeah, you basically have to be as how can I say it, as true to yourself as you can be in that letter that you're gonna write. Like, be as honest and as concise as you can be, and like that paragraph that you're describing yourself as, and that you're saying, yes, I'm the right person that you want to have in your college starting next year. So yeah.
And most importantly, show your interest. Tell them why you're
interested about absolutely this. Show your interest.
Excellent question, excellent advice. Yeah. So one new message.
There's another one about the cognitive test.
Do you
need to know programming language? I believe there wasn't specifically a requirement for you to know programming language. However, programming itself helps you with the logical thinking and all those prompts. It's not like you need to know specifically, like you need to know Java or C++. It's not like that. It's mostly about having that programming thinking of going through steps and solving the problem. I believe that's what they test you on. because like Mark said, most courses, you can basically go there from scratch, from not knowing any language and start there and be successful. But again, getting there, you kind of do need to be in that programmer's mindset of taking a problem and solving it step by step. So I know everybody here has some programming experience, whether it's in C, C++, Java, and that is crucial, at least for the way that you think, the way that you shape your thinking while approaching a problem. Not necessarily for, knowing word by word how to create a variable, or how to initialize this or that.
I do have two questions. So one will be, Stefan, you remember in Delft and Eindhoven also, they said about a minor, so they say like a double graduation. So one for being a computer engineer, and the other one, you can choose math or something. Or can you give more details?
I believe Eindhoven on their open days were more straight up blunt about this, at least, because they said a lot of computer science students decide that they have enough courses in common with the applied maths degree, and they decide to eventually do both, finish both bachelors. So I guess majoring, how they say, in computer science and engineering, and a minor in applied math. I believe it's very similar for Delft, but they weren't as clear about it as Eindhoven.
Okay, I understand. So, and for both of you guys, how long do you need to study for bachelor degree?
It mostly depends, over here at least, because we do have like courses like each and every single day of the week, and then they do expect you to self-study for around, I think, 20 to 30 hours a week, I think. At least in the first few months, you probably won't have to study that much, if I'm perfectly honest, because the assignments are not that bad to do. Of course, you're going to run into a little bit of trouble if you've never had like any proper programming experience before. You're going to struggle a little bit with some assignments, but they're certainly doable.
I'll go with the more general part of this answer. For the TU universities, you'd spend, I think, just 3 years on the computer science and engineering bachelor degree. While I know Marc, for example, at Fontes, he's going to spend 4 years, right? So I guess the TUs, they have a lot more specific engineering courses and really take you down that path of the major.
Yeah, basically the main difference between TU universities and then applied sciences universities is that they have basically internships in year 3 and year 4, and then minors in year 3 and year 4 semesters. So basically you have like, now if I can give like a small rundown of how basically this bachelor course is laid out. It's basically semester 1 in year 1 is basically orientation level. So you need to do all the courses and you need to pass all of them. From semester 2, you need to choose one specialization that you need to go for, that being your major. For me, it's going to be software engineering. And then from year 2 onwards, you're going to do your software engineering work. Year 3, I think semester 1, you have a minor that you can choose from, which can consist of AI, security, game design, whatever you might want to choose from that they have available. Then you have to do your internship, and then it's kind of rinse and repeat in year 4.
Excellent. And Stefan, could you please give more details? I know for Delft and Eindhoven, there were some requirements about level of math. So this is a question mostly for US based. So for high schoolers in US based. So what was what was the limit or the limitation here? Because I know if you didn't have like HL, or I don't remember, HL level math, or do you have?
Yeah, so again, as I mentioned, my IB credits kind of helped me equivalent my high school requirements to the European requirements in the Netherlands. And here for the US, they do want to see you have a IB math HL, so high level, which I guess is equivalent to calculus 3. and linear algebra about that course. Again, for European students, they already have the baccalaureate courses and they already test there, so it's not as hard to equivalent.
So if I understand correctly, you need to have HL level
That's
for
right.
math in order to apply for these specific universities. I'm not sure
not
about.
in order to apply. I believe Delft was very blunt about saying it matters what you do on the test, but if you have this math requirement, you're going to do much better.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, guys. Very good stuff. So if we don't have some other questions, and looks like we don't, thank you, Stefan and Marc. Thank you very much for your presentation and your sharing experience. We'll wait for next webinar. We have an exciting webinar, I hope, AI for birds. We'll give more details when in the next days or so. So if there are no more questions, thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend. We should stop this meeting. Thank you.